Welcome everyone to Ask Trinity Archives. I'm Joe Lipinski.
And I'm Marissa Maggs.
And we are two archivists working in the archives of Trinity Church Wall Street. We have another Hamilton question for you, Marissa, and this one is, what was Alexander Hamilton's funeral like?
On July 14th, 1804, the funeral was definitely the major event in the city that day. At 10 a.m., the military began to drill in City Hall Park, and those that would partake in the funeral march began to assemble on the south side of Robinson Street, which is known as Park Place today, in front of the house of John and Angelica Church, Hamilton's brother and sister-in-law, where his body was being held. At noon, his coffin emerged, carried by 7 of his closest friends. The coffin was given a moment of silence and military salute, at which point it began the procession through Lower Manhattan. The funeral procession consisted of a huge number of individuals, which serves as evidence to Hamilton's vast presence and influence in the city of New York. In order, the procession included the following. Settle in. The artillery, the 6th Regiment of Militia, flank companies, the Cincinnati Society, a train of clergy of all denominations. Finally, Hamilton's coffin. He was followed by his horse, and on the back of Hamilton's horse lay his boots and spurs reversed on the empty saddle. Then his wife, children, and other relatives, physicians, Governor Morris in his carriage, the gentlemen of the Bar Association, the Lieutenant Governor of the state, the Corporation of the City of New York, resident agents of foreign powers, officers of the Army and Navy, military and naval officers of foreign powers, militia officers of the state, various officers of respective banks, wardens of the port, and masters of vessels in the harbor, the president, professors, and students of Columbia College, St. Andrew's Society, the Tammany Society, the Mechanics Society, the Marine Society, and finally, citizens in general. The march followed a route from Robinson Street through Beekman, Pearl, and Whitehall Streets before heading north on Broadway to Trinity, a trip that took almost 2 hours to get to the church. I put together a map of the likely route taken by the procession, and it's only about 1.5 miles and should take 30 minutes at a standard walking pace to give you a sense of the speed of the procession. During the march, there was a continuous artillery fire from City Hall Park, as well as gunfire from both British and French ships in the harbor, and cannon fire from forts around the harbor. Imagine what that must have sounded like. In addition to the sizable funeral procession, the public lined the streets and peered out windows as spectators. Once the procession arrived at Trinity, Governor Morris delivered the eulogy, after which the coffin was carried over to the churchyard, where the troops formed a hollow square around the grave. Reverend Benjamin Moore, who was Trinity's rector at the time, performed the funeral service from the Book of Common Prayer, and 3 musket volleys were fired over the grave to mark the conclusion of the funeral.
That's all we have for today, but we'd love to hear from you. We welcome any questions you might have, so please leave them in the comment section below, and we'll do our best to answer them in a future video. Thanks for tuning in.